Well, I think we can help people see that whatever concern they bring to the table, whatever brings them to politics, maybe it's a worry about the environment, or it's a worry about immigration, or it's a worry about any of the range of political issues. It's impossible to address that problem unless we work through the system, because otherwise we live in a society that is just too diverse for anybody to win anything. The system we have is a way to turn that diversity into a strength and to try to construct coalitions that can enable us to resolve problems. That's a tremendous source of potential strength for our society. I think a lot of younger Americans now just simply don't see it that way. They see politics cynically. They see it as a kind of competition of power and interest and money. And to help them understand that it's really about solving the sorts of problems that they confront and that they see as they look to the future of the country, can help them see that there's a reason to get involved in politics that begins from a serious concern for your own community, for your neighbors, for your family, and that the way to build on that start and to address those worries is to be a serious citizen. Ultimately, the most important office in our society, in our democracy, is not the president; it's the citizen, and we all hold that office. And we have to take that seriously, but also see what kinds of opportunities it offers us.
Right. No, I also agree on that. I had heard Eric Liu from Citizen University speak, and he was walking a person through how to be a citizen. And it was very enlightening for me because I started looking at being a citizen not just as a noun, but as a verb. And
Mm.
that to really participate and be part of the we are, we the people, it takes action and engagement, to do that. And so, yeah,
Absolutely right. It's a way of life. It's not simply an identity.
right. Yep. And so, you talk about the importance of forming constitutional habits. What are some practical examples of how individuals or communities can cultivate those habits in everyday life?
Yeah, I think ultimately these are habits of constructive disagreement. And so when you face a situation where there's a dispute about how to proceed on any question that's in front of you, whether that's in your church, in your business, in your school, or in your community, in your political life, to begin by having people lay out their views, make a case for them, by seeing where there's room to build some agreement, to build a coalition, to see how can we help you get some of what you want in return for some of what he or she wants. Those kinds of habits don't come naturally. They're built by experience, they're built by practice, and getting practiced in those is really how to become the citizen of a republic. I think we can do that in a lot of different circumstances. They're not simply political. And to approach problems this way, to say, let's have a meeting, let's get together, sit around the table, and think about how can we move forward here, even though we disagree, is a tremendously important habit to help our children see us do this, to create some set of procedures and structures that we all trust and take seriously. I think that's something that serves us well beyond politics. And, in a way, every functional institution works this way in our society. We do bring those habits into other parts of our lives, but they don't come naturally. We've got to get experienced in them. And so I think bringing young people into those conversations, bringing the next generation into contact with these ways of solving problems is really crucial.
Yeah, I agree. What do you say to critics who argue that the Constitution itself is part of the problem, that is outdated or structurally flawed in a way that contributes to the division?
There are a lot of critics like that, and I think it's in some ways the oldest criticism of the Constitution is that it's out of date. There were people arguing that as early as 1810, and I think
At least a handful of decades old then.
exactly, yeah, and I think the essential thing for us to see is that the Constitution was created to solve exactly the kind of problem we now confront, the challenge of holding a diverse, divided society together. That challenge was very much on the minds of the authors of the Constitution. The very first goal set forward in the preamble to the Constitution is to form a more perfect union. It begins from an understanding that division is a grave threat and a very real one, and that the system is here to help us hold together and solve problems as one society. So, in that sense, our Constitution is actually more sophisticated, more up to date than a lot of its critics, because it doesn't think we can do this in any simple minded way. It doesn't think that just counting heads is enough, that just voting is enough. It knows that while majority rule is the only way to solve our problems legitimately, majorities can also be oppressive of minorities and of individuals. And so the system sets up a complex set of procedures to allow majorities to govern, but also to restrain majorities from abusing their power.